Hi, welcome back to Zero to X. It's a podcast that dives deep into behind the scenes stories of company buildings and startups. And the stories are told by extraordinary entrepreneurs and founders. I'm Ruby Nguyen, host of this podcast. I'm also the founder and CEO at Curious. Curious is an AI-powered app that helps you create viral writing in one click. And today, I'm very happy to have one of my greatest friends and an entrepreneur I greatly admire, that is Linh Pham. She's a CEO and founder at Logivan. It's a startup in the logistics tech industry. And I've been a fan of her for a long time, and today I want to invite her to this show and learn more about her business. And a little bit more about Linh. She's been an exceptional talent since a very young age. You were the top 16 gold medalist in British Physics Olympiad. That is pretty mind-blowing. She graduated from natural science from Cambridge University. And after the UK study, she came back to Vietnam, founded Logivan, which is an Uber for 10,000 and more of trucks in Vietnam, helping to move the economic of the country. And Logivan has received $8 million in funding from renowned investors and venture capital funds. It's a long list of accomplishments, and I would not forget to mention that Linh is also named in Forbes 30 under 30. Wow, so many accomplishments, and let's dive into your story.
I'm very glad to be invited to one of your podcasts, and yeah, I would love to share more about Logivan and our journey.
Thank you. So the first story and the first question that I'm very curious about you is that you chose to go into a very male-dominated industry, right, which is logistics technology. So women entrepreneurs usually will go into things that are more feminine. Not to be like sexist, right? So this can be like a sexist conversation, but no, I don't mean that. But the tendency is I see a lot of women entrepreneurs will go into things like beauty and fashion and something that is a lot more feminine. So why did you choose this industry? Does it have a history from your family, or it's just your personal interest?
So actually, that's a misconception, right?
Yeah.
I want to correct the misconception is that logistics is such a male-dominated industry. For sure, most truck drivers are male, but there are a lot of nữ tướng, the queens in the logistics field, very strong, capable women founders, such as Chị Minh Phương or Chị Huỳnh Liên or Ngọc Thạch. And I think all fields will attract a combination of men and women. It's just whether it's the right personality or not. And we see that there's a lot of male founders in the HR tech field, like Recruitery, anh Toàn, or anh Nam in Headhunt, Vietnam. Or in the fashion world, there's a lot of powerhouses that are built by the male founders, like Zara, H&M, or Shein. So I think in supply chain and logistics, there are a lot of fantastic women that I get to work with. And oftentimes, they are the ones that command the men and the drivers. It's better that way.
The queens, as you mentioned. So that is a misconception. It's actually an industry that has a balance of, leaders in different genders. That's interesting. I wonder why we have this misconception.
Why we have this misconception? I think most people think logistics is a little bit dry or boring, like not sexy at all.
Do you think it's sexy?
I think whatever makes money is sexy. So definitely logistics like 10, 15 years ago was definitely damn sexy. The margins were great. But I think in the recent years, clients are facing a lot of pressure from the economy, and so logistics, trucking companies also have to improve or change or tweak their business models or to improve their unit economics and to utilize their fleets better. So those that are not able to cut costs and reduce transport costs for their clients will be forced to exit the industry. And we see that over time, if that trend continues in the next 1 to 3 years, then demand would eventually outgrow supply. And when that happens, clients would struggle to have good service at a reasonable price. And so they will have to be forced to raise pricing again in order to attract new truckers, new players to come in and expand their fleet. And so the market continues, the cycle continues. So it's a up and down, I think, believe this trend is for most fields.
And why did you choose to go into this industry?
So my family business is in manufacturing. And so we own 10 trucks. And upon seeing that the 10 trucks were returning empty most of the time, I started the platform and started recruiting truckers and built the apps, and built the technology to optimize and to, optimize this fragmented market better, so that logistics can become more efficient and less wasteful.
Wow, so that was from 10 trucks in your family business. Now it's become 10,000 trucks. That's
yes, we work with a broad range of truckers in the market. They are mainly categorized into 5 categories. The small and niche truckers who have less than 5 trucks, the medium-sized one, like 20 to 50 trucks, the big and very strategic partners with more than 100, 200, 300 trucks that we work with. And there's also the traditional brokers, the individual brokers, and there's also a new category that is emerging, which is called the carrier broker. So they both own the assets, the trucks, but they're also brokers themselves.
I see. And do you still own any trucks?
For Logivan, we don't own any trucks, but my family business, we have 10 trucks.
I see, still the 10 trucks. Okay. So your customers are enterprise, and you have suppliers who are the truck owners.
Yes.
And some other suppliers, like you have different baskets. As enterprise customers, when they think about Logivan, what would they say? What is the biggest innovation or the biggest value that you are bringing to them?
Cutting down their transportation costs.
Yeah, that's
improving their logistics efficiency and operations management. So we offer a transportation management system that allows them to gain insights and visibility into their trucking operations, logistics operations. So any key supply chain metrics could be accessed instantly. So this previously was priorly done very manually processed. All the data is compiled on Excel, and they would have to wait for days to get the operations report. But with Logivan, not only that they get a very reliable trucking transportation provider, and they also get that extra value-added benefits of the analytics, insights, and visibility.
And then on the supplier side, right? What would they say about Logivan? I'm just imagining that I'm one of the suppliers, and I go and tell other people, hey, please use Logivan. It's very good. And then because it's very good because ... what would they say?
Because it helps you fill your backhaul's loads. So truckers often face this dilemma, right? So you accept a load to go from Bình Dương to Cà Mau, and then in Cà Mau you don't have any thing to carry back. So what do? You ask Logivan to see if the platform has any loads from nearby region. Not necessarily has to be Cà Mau, but it could be from Hậu Giang, Bến Tre, or Cần Thơ. Cargo back. Yeah.
So basically they make more money, right? So on one side your customers will save costs, and on the other side your suppliers will make more money.
In essence.
In essence, yes. Yeah. From my little brain, I understand it.
Think of us not like vitamins, right? We are painkillers.
Yes. That's so true. And what is the innovation that is so core to this balancing, helping your suppliers and also helping your customers? Right? What is the core innovation of Logivan that will differentiate you from all the rest of the competition?
I think this is a fantastic question. And first, our tech is super cool. We built it over the last 5 or 6 years, and it helps automate and simplify very complex logistics processes So this has allowed us to remain super lean. One operator can manage and operate up to 1,500 shipments per month. Also, our route optimization algorithms also help us to reduce transportation costs further, which then we will then pass on this savings to our clients, which is typically from 8 to 15%.
That is so good in cost saving. Do you know that I studied logistic management when I was in college?
I did not.
So this is something you didn't know because I've never worked in this field beside my internship. But like I'm always fascinating about all this innovation that you are doing because that's just remind me of all the time that I was studying really hard in this field.
Let's go to the port sometime together.
I would love to.
Actually, we should do this interview at a port or a factory.
Yeah, I used to work for my internship. I used to work for an airlines, and I love being in the area where they do all these activities. So you built Logivan in the last 6 years, and in that journey. What was the biggest challenge that you faced?
Right. So in order to build our 10,000 truckers pool, it took us a really long time. It took years to build a network. So, you know, the trucking market is huge, like multi-billion dollars market, but it is extremely fragmented with thousands of small niche individual truckers or trucking companies with less than 5 trucks. So they are extremely fragmented and hard to reach. So at the very beginning of our journey, we had to go to a lot of parking lots and congested border gates to recruit them one by one. Wow. So and our team also handed out flyers to truckers who are waiting in their truck cabins.
I see.
Eating noodles or playing games.
Or
sleeping. Which we, very kindly disturbed them. So this journey was very long but very rewarding because if it was that easy to build a pool of 10,000 truckers network, it would not be a good moat to defend the business long term.
I see. So what is the ideal number for you to be at a critical mass where it's defendable?
So I'm not sure what is the percentage for a critical mass number, but in Vietnam, there's 1 million truckers.
Wow.
So right now we are at what? Only 1%.
1%?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good news for you. You're going to have so much potential to reach, right? But you said that the process to convince them and onboard them is very long, right? So that's the question that popped up in my mind is that you also raise a lot of money from VCs who expect this to be fast. How do you handle that challenge in the managing the expectation, also in the fundraising process before the deal and also after the deal, right? How do you manage the expectation?
That's a great question because at the very beginning, right, all the VCs that we work with wanted growth.
Yes.
Growth at all costs. So we were actually burning a lot of money to acquire new users at a faster speed. But COVID hits. And also there's the mentality that shifts from growth to sustainability and profitability. And so we learned a lot of lessons along the way, and we had to pivot in some parts and departments that we have to change our strategy to go like grow, whatever costs.
Yeah. Okay.
To how do we get more sustainable, profitable clients and deals that is actually good for the bottom line and is going to help our company be a very strong logistics company that endure tough times and thrive in the good times.
So how did that process happen? How did that change? It's actually a big switch, right? How did it happen?
So for the first 2 years, right, we raised funding and then we hired a lot of people. And this was totally unnecessary. We did all sorts of projects, unnecessary projects, which didn't bring the required ROI back. So when COVID hits, we had to lay off actually almost half the team. And this was a very painful process for us. And we would not wish to go through that once more time. But we learned a lot. and about people management, about managing people's expectations, and also doing it in a very more humane way.
Yeah, that sounds pretty painful. Would you say that is the biggest mistake you've made with your journey with Logivan?
Definitely. I think definitely we have to hit unit economics, fundamentals. We have to work that out first before we take on external funding.
And how is it now? Where are you now on that process?
So now our business is profitable and growing very sustainably, which we are really happy that our team member can balance work-life. And also we as the founders, we try to achieve work-life balance as well at this stage.
Have you achieved work-life balance as a founder?
Kind of, I think.
Kind of? Oh my God, you're a unicorn already, because I asked so many founders on this podcast, do they have work-life balance? And I think 8 out of 10 would say no.
Right.
Yeah, but congratulations.
We have to try it. Yeah. I try to have a party with my friends once a year.
Once a year, okay.
Well, a big party.
Okay. Well, invite me. So what is the future for Logivan? What is your vision for the company in the next 18 to 36 months?
In logistics, actually, there are many areas that are left to be addressed, many potential areas. And so one of the big areas is sustainability. Right now, we are helping our clients to track the CO2 emissions from their logistics and trucking activities, and how we can help them reduce that emissions over time with route optimization algorithms, and also the selection of more newer, cleaner truck models. So between Euro 4 truck and Euro 6 truck, there's a massive difference in terms of emissions. And we help them to select more Euro 6 trucks to deliver their shipments.
And why is it important for them? I know that sustainability is important, right? But how does it impact their business and their bottom line?
To put it frankly, they will have to report their emissions to Europe,
I see.
to their customers. As their customers are now mandating that they have to report this in their ESG report, and if their supply chain is not green, then there will be consequences. They might lose that business.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually mandatory from 2026.
Yeah. Let's talk about the market potential for the Vietnamese. So earlier, you did mention that there's 1 million trucks in the country.
Yeah.
And you have utilized 10,000 of them. How do you envision to reach this 1 million trucks? And if you reach that 1 million trucks, how big of the market potentials in terms of revenue that it can generate?
I think realistically, it would be difficult to reach the full market penetration. I think 10% would be a very, very good achievement. Actually, reaching 1 million trucks would be quite difficult because that is 100% market penetration. But with a 10% market penetration, so 10x of the truckers that will join our platform and engage with our offers, our loads on the platform, I think it would have an immense... So there are 2 key levers on the revenue potential. Number 1 is how we utilize those trucks. Are they running with us all the time, or are they only taking a few orders with us per month? So by increasing that percentage and also increasing the number of truckers that join our platform, we can couple those 2 factors and increase the revenue much more significantly.
So it's not just 10x revenue, but it's maybe 30x, 50x, 100x if you can utilize that and perhaps offer a new way to create values for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So not just selling them the return loads, right? We could sell them other auxiliary services such as fuel or maintenance, lubricants. There's a lot of insurance, financial products.
I'm just curious a little bit about the software part of this business. It seems like this can be used outside of the Vietnamese market as well, right? Have you ever thought about it? Do you have any plan to expand your company to regional or even global markets?
So right now we do cross-border transportation. So we do cross-border transportation between Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and a bit to China as well. And there's great synergies because of the geographical advantage of Vietnam between these countries, is that whatever flows from China to Southeast Asia and vice versa will has to go through Vietnam by road, if they're not shipping by sea, obviously. So there's a lot of potential to expand geographically to adjacent countries.
I see. So it's like a natural kind of expansion because the customers are already doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They could have a manufacturing site in Vietnam, assembly parts that is sourced from China, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia.
And then the next thing that definitely probably you've thought about, but I haven't heard many people talking about this thing in details in logistics is how will AI is so buzz nowadays. How will AI impact your industry? Have you thought about applying AI into your innovation of the software?
This is actually a very good question because AI has so much of a potential to be applied in logistics. And actually, we've been using machine learning algorithms to power our pricing and route optimization algorithms in the past 3 years already. And we have 2 AI patents registered in Singapore.
Wow.
But we are also working on our transportation management system, TMS, tool, leveraging the large language models, the latest ones, which we will be rolling out in a couple of months. So that's super exciting for us to be working on this right now.
What are you going to call it?
It's going to be called LogGPT.
LogGPT?
Yeah.
That is like between logistic and GPT married together and have a baby.
Yeah.
That is such a cool name. Have you tested this solution with your customers? How is the response?
I haven't actually, but for those that are using our TMS system, they will be
pilot users or something.
Yeah. So for customers that are already using our TMS transportation management system, they will have early access to this LogGPT feature.
Oh, that is so cool. So nowadays you can just talk to that LogGPT feature and then get exactly the information you need instead of searching and then navigating through different dashboards like it used to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And how is the AI patents? You mentioned about the AI patents before. What is the intellectual property that you are registering for this application?
It's the machine learning algorithms that we built for our pricing algorithms. So it is built upon thousands and I think hundreds of thousands of bids that were placed on our platform. So when a trucker sees a load that he or she is interested in, they can bid on the load.
I see.
And all of this information about the time, the type of load, the route references is recorded, and this will power the pricing algorithms in the future.
And that is your own intellectual property, and that can't be copied or replicated by some of your or any of your competitors.
Yes.
By the way, who's your biggest competitors?
It's the biggest 3PLs logistics companies out there.
Okay, I see. So you're actually fighting against the giants.
Yes, in a way. We feel like we are always fighting the Goliath.
I see.
In every single deal.
And how do you fight with them?
Actually, we have advantages that they don't have. We are often viewed as the novelty factor. So Logivan, hey, there's this cool kid that is bringing technology and systemization into logistics management, and often that will get us through the door. When it comes to increasing volume, obviously it's going to be like a tougher road because we are competing with very big 3PLs, DHL, Maersk, Toll Logistics.
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah, they have so much advantage of scale that you don't.
And branding, in the market for 20 years or so, it's still tough. So I don't want to say anything like we've got a playbook that we can beat them or anything like that. It sounds a bit like...
It's fine. I mean, you're a startup. You're still figuring out every day. And competition also changes a lot, right? So the fact that you're still figuring out how to fight your competitors is very natural. In fact, that's all companies, every company is doing that. Right? If a company say that, oh, we already figured out how to win all the competitors, I don't think that's the right statement to make. Yeah. What is the biggest challenge when you compete with them?
So they have the brand, they have the history of maybe working with the clients for 10, 20 years before us. So, we have to figure out ways to add value to our clients in areas where the typical traditional 3PLs are not. So, for example, in Vietnam, most of the 3PLs are starting to embrace technology. But this process will take them quite a while. And you know how big corporations move. They are extremely slow to adopt new way of working. And so this is our advantage. We can move faster. We can build features for our clients within few days, if not 1 week.
That's amazing.
And we can roll it out to them. And if they want to implement anything new, we will be the first guy that raise our hand and say, we can do it. And we can do it fast for you without costing you a ton of unnecessary meetings that dampen your team morale. Or if you want to get this go live, we can do it in 2 weeks instead of 2 years.
Well, that's a great advantage, right? As long as you can communicate that clearly with your customer, that's a great advantage. Speed,
yes.
Which is something that logistics industry needs. Let's talk a little bit about fundraising, because I admire your ability to raise with regional VCs and with $8 million in terms of fundraising through 3 rounds. I'm sure you've learned a lot. So the first question I would have is about your early days of fundraising. Right? How was it? Personally, I've made a lot of mistakes in my early days of fundraising, and I would love to learn what kind of mistake you made as well. And then we'll talk about the later part of fundraising where you become a lot more professional or a lot more experienced. What was the mistake in the early days?
I think we touched on this before. So the mistakes in the early days are focusing too much on growth and not on profitability, which has probably costed us like 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
In our journey.
2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Because it's a setback and you have to let go of 50% of the people, as you mentioned before. Then the question I would follow up with that is, so the early days mistake you made was to focus all on growth. So when you go and pitch investors about growth, you have to execute the growth, and then it has now from hindsight, then it's not a great strategy to go. But if you didn't pitch growth, would you be able to fundraise?
I don't think so. At the time, growth was everything, right?
I see.
At the time, the market was hot.
I see.
And it was relatively easier to fundraise during that climate than it is to fundraise in this current climate.
And so it was a mistake, but it's also the move that you had to make in that time. Wow.
At that time, we didn't think of it as like, will we focus on growth or profitability? At the time, growth was like the only thing that you could think of.
It's not just your company, but all other startups in that environment was also doing
Everything
that too.
was super hyped up, right? There were a lot of big startups that raised so much money, and obviously some of them crashed and burned and didn't survive. So that was the biggest lesson in fundraising.
And now, are you fundraising again soon, or?
We are not certain yet. There's a big project that we are pursuing right now. However, we believe that we could do this with our own financing.
Chào những khán giả của Zero to X. Mình muốn dành một chút thời gian để cảm ơn Workflow, nhà tài trợ của tập podcast ngày hôm nay. Đội ngũ của mình tại Q&As cũng đang sử dụng không gian tại Workflow để làm việc hybrid. Cả đội rất yêu thích kiến trúc hiện đại, đồ ăn ngon và những ly cà phê đầy tính sáng tạo ở đây. Điều tuyệt vời nhất là bạn có thể đăng ký sử dụng không gian linh hoạt với chi phí rất là kinh tế. Nếu bạn đang tìm kiếm một không gian làm việc hybrid cho bản thân hoặc cho đội ngũ nhỏ của mình tại thành phố Hồ Chí Minh thì hãy thử Workflow nhé.
Hey, những người bạn doanh nhân của Zero to X, nếu bạn thích chương trình này thì tại sao không mua tặng tụi mình một ly cà phê? Hãy nhấn vào link ở trong description nhé. So if you're doing this with your own financing, how do you manage this expectation and get them behind your back?
VCs on our board are currently happy that we are profitable and are thriving post-COVID. And with the next project that we embark upon, I think they will be very supportive of this initiative because it's the sneak peek is focused on sustainability, and it is a project that we are really anticipating. Yeah.
That's great. That's a different switch of mindset, but it's more sustainable. And sometimes, right, we talk about being a woman raising fund has certain kind of challenge, and everyone's experience is different. I would love to learn about your own personal experience raising fund as a female founder. Do you think it's a factor that hinder your effectiveness, or it doesn't matter as long as you're effective with your business and your pitch?
Personally, I didn't encounter any explicit discrimination when I'm the female founder. There could be implicit biases, but not big enough that I can notice. I think as long as the business meets the 3 requirements, which is like a big market that has a big problem to solve, good timing, and good team. I think when 3 of that factors, 3 key factors are met, then it's not a big issue.
For me personally, I felt like in the early days it was a little bit of a challenge, but nowadays I don't feel like the gender factor actually affect the pitch or the process anymore. It's interesting. Maybe because in the early days I made too many more mistakes.
I think now. Because women often, seem a bit more reserved than men. Like men are super confident about their abilities, right? And that could be portrayed, that could have a positive image in the VC's eyes than women. When something good happened to us, we often attribute that to the environment or our team, like external factors rather than ourselves. But for men, when they are successful, they will attribute that to them mostly.
Which is, I think, also something that we can learn. And we should learn, right? Because we're playing this game, and if investors have a certain type of patterns that they've seen a lot with men, and we don't match that, it's like actually a disadvantage that we have. And this is something that I'm also learning as a process right now. Now I have a new favorite question I ask every guest that come to the show. That is, entrepreneurship is very challenging, and usually everyone sacrifices something from their personal life to achieve this ambition. And so what is your sacrifice?
I think I sacrificed a lot of time with my friends and my family. And, my family is extremely supportive in my entrepreneurial journey because we come from a family of entrepreneurs, so we understand how much hard work and, sacrifices it takes in order to build an enduring and successful business. And so they are very supportive, but still, I missed a lot of, quality time with them and also with friends as well. And now I'm trying to, balance my life a little bit more by, buying people's gifts.
Are you trying to bribe them?
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to bribe them. It's just like small gestures that show them that I still care about them, rather than business is the only thing I care about.
I see.
That's what they tend to say in the last couple of years. But I think it is changing now.
Wow. Actually, I'm having some similar perception issue where they think that my family think that business is the only thing I care about. It's not true. Yeah, so we have to do more and express more of our care for them. And it's true that business is very important to us, but it's not true that it's the only thing we care about. And that can be a misconception that close people to us they might have.
I think we have to be super grateful that they are not hindering our business endeavor in any way, because I know there's a lot of founders who are unlucky in a sense that their family has a lot of issues, which tend to distract them from building their business. And the fact that your business leaves you alone we should be grateful for that.
It's true. And talking about sacrifice, do you think it's worth it?
Totally. I've learned so much. I've met incredible people such as you, and I'm very grateful that this journey has brought me so many rewarding experiences that I would not have otherwise got if I were to work in a corporate environment.
What do you love the most about entrepreneurship, besides meeting interesting people?
It's like the process of building and launching and anticipating. It's like a drug.
It's so true. It is a drug.
If
you get so high.
And I just love that process of like launching new things and, talking to people about the cool things that we're building right now. I just love it.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Sometimes I feel like I'm high on drug, but I'm not on drug. I'm just like getting high on just doing the thing that I love doing.
Getting high on fixing bugs.
Sometimes, yes. Because the moment when it's fixed, it's very satisfying, right? But talking about drugs, it's a natural drug that is in our system, but there are also days where we try so hard and things doesn't move anywhere and it fails or whatever, things that doesn't go well. You also feel the extreme low of a drug withdrawal.
Exactly. Right? There'll be very, very
high moments.
Yeah, and very, very low moments.
Yeah. Even sometimes when it's not a big problem or anything, but just because you get so high that your brain has to balance, and then you feel a little.
We need a dopamine detox.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. Is there anything you think that being a female entrepreneur gives you some advantage or some strength in this journey?
Absolutely. I think being a female has its own advantages. Like sometimes we can leverage our feminine, features and
traits.
Tell me more. So people, I think people love working with passionate people.
Female has a different kind of passion. Our passion, and my observation is the passion of a female is a lot more romantic. I don't know how, but I was talking to my earlier guest as well. I just felt like it's so romantic. And while the passion of a male entrepreneur is very like war kind of passion, and it's also very inspiring, but in a different way, But the female passion just feels so romantic to me for some reason. Maybe not nervous, it's just some strength that just because you're a female, it gives you an advantage or a different kind of effectiveness.
Being a female founder, right? I think you tend to care more about other people's emotions than male founders. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we are more aware of our emotions and how our actions would affect the other people. And so female founders, actually, I think studies have shown that female founders companies will tend to treat employees better or has a lot more policies that
supports
work-life
balance for employees.
Work-life balance, yeah.
Also, studies have shown that female-led company is more capital efficient.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great strength.
Because men are often more aggressive, and if they want to expand, they will maybe try to acquire this or that company. But women are more reserved, and not reserved, but women are more careful, like more prudent with finances.
Right.
So they would not necessarily think of the best way to expand to a market is to acquire a player in that market.
What is your dream with your company, and perhaps it's also a mix of your dream with your company and your personal dream as well?
One dream that I want to do is to learn how to drive a big trailer, a big truck.
Wow. Okay.
But I think my childhood dream was to become an astronomer.
Astronomer?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Physics,
I used to have a dream
astronomer.
Too.
Yeah.
Wow. And you study physics and natural science to perhaps try to achieve that dream.
That dream actually will help me live longer than this career. Because looking at stars, like being an astronomer, help extends longevity more than working in logistics, right?
Yeah. How often do you do stargazing?
Not very often now, given that I live in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah. Actually, that's when I was growing up. I spent so many nights just staring at the sky, and that was like early, maybe less than 10 years old. That's what I did almost every night.
Yeah. I mean, 20 years ago, right? We didn't have as much pollution as we have now, and the sky were still pretty much visible at night when lights are a little bit less.
And so how about the dream of becoming a trailer driver? Are you actually executing on that? Or
I'm still daydreaming on that.
Daydreaming?
Until it become a nightmare.
Oh my God. I would love to see you doing that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That would probably become viral.
Maybe that's a PR stunt.
Yeah.
Yep. What is the plan for exit for your company? Have you ever thought about it?
Sometimes I think about that because I often have ideas that revolves around the areas that I see there are like business inefficiencies or this problem needs to be tackled. So I often have like new startups ideas. So sometimes I think about like exit strategy. So for Logivan, M&A would be a better path rather than IPO.
And it's because
I just don't see any IPOs in Vietnam or Southeast Asia, right? It's very rare. And M&A is a much sweeter spot for entrepreneurs in the region.
I see. And who would be your potential buyers? Your competitors?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's usually the case. I see. And so if you exit your company, what is the next thing that you would do? Launch
a new business. I love getting high on that drug, right? And we could do something together as well.
Will it be in the same industry or it will be something else? Different. Astronomy?
It would be in a business with high margins. Because I've learned a lot doing this business over the last 6 years is that a business with thinner margins, it will be a lot tougher to bootstrap it and to grow it at your own pace.
I see.
Because logistics is so, cutthroat. You have to be super efficient. There's no room for error. If your costs increase, that's not good at all. And you always have to keep a vigilant eye on everything. And so the next business that I plan to build has to have high margins.
Something else. Escape from the current thing to the next thing so you learn a different world.
Do something that your clients will think of it as value when it's high price rather than
cutting cost. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I want to touch a little bit on the part where you have to let go of 50% of your people before. I think there's a lot of learning in that, which we didn't dive in, but now I would love to dive in a little bit deeper. How did you handle that process? What was the thing that worked and what didn't work and you wish that you could have done it differently?
Totally. I think these learnings are mostly about communications because our compensation package were very generous. However, it was the way that we communicated the news to the team that I think was not executed well. So we sent out emails. That was not good. It should have been a town hall. It should have been personal, one-on-one conversation, at least with the team first, and then the managers could deliver the news to each and every person personally. Yeah, so that's the key learning that we learned. Communication is key.
I see. Why at that point in time you decided to communicate by email?
No freaking clue.
Was you scared?
Extremely.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that is a very scary thing to do, and I'm glad you have that learning. And sometimes we thought about letting go of people, and we are scared, and we think that, we just pay them a lot, and that's going to compensate that. But it's never about that, isn't it? It's really about that handling the emotion and the dignity, right?
Exactly.
A lot more important, and then the compensation will have to be as a part of the package too, but it's never the thing. If you could have done it differently, it would be personal, one-on-one.
Yes.
Yeah, I also believe that's the right thing to do.
I think I've grown in that process.
And then still we're on this people topic. Let's talk a little bit about hiring. As entrepreneurs, I'm sure we have learned a lot of hiring lessons through mistakes as well. So what are the mistakes that you have learned, you have made in hiring, and then eventually what are the key principles that you have learned in hiring that is effective for you?
Principles that make hiring effective.
First is about the mistakes in hiring first. Everyone makes mistakes in hiring. Yeah, everyone makes mistakes in hiring. Everyone.
The key mistake that we made is that we hired superstars. Oftentimes people who are perceived as superstars, they tend to not work well in teams. And oftentimes handling that extra drama about the superstars is harder. It takes so much work and mental headspace than just hire more, not a normal, a more...
a team player.
Yeah.
Define superstar.
Superstars are the high achievers that you think could bring a lot of value to the business. So even though they don't get along well with the other people, there might be even elements of jealousy or envy, right? When the boss introduced the new player, the newcomer, who will be the manager of someone who is like a lot more experienced and older, right? So superstars can be like, typically the profile is a younger person, younger manager with a lot of like, high profiles, credentials, like graduated from this college, that college, worked for XYZ.
It was a very big brand of
big
company.
brands. So oftentimes having that superstar in the team coming in midway and become the manager of other people who are more down to earth, more experienced, can cause resistance and envy. And handling that extra drama for the team, I don't think it's worth it.
And so what is the result? You have to let go of the superstar or some of the team members?
It depends case by case. Most oftentimes, a superstar will find it's impossible to work with the current team, and they will leave on their own will. And sometimes at that moment, we will then choose to promote someone from within. That would be a more natural progression. And that person would have understood the processes or
have the relationships built with the existing people.
And has the respect from the other people around them when they rise to the leader position.
Wow. Yeah, I made the same mistake in my past as well, thinking that bringing the superstars were going to supercharge the performance of the team, but it actually created all these dramas. And then later on, we also learned the lesson you just mentioned, is that promoting from within is a lot better path to go. And by the way, there's also research showing that it's a lot more cost efficient plus higher productivity when we promote from within. Usually when you hire a superstar, you pay them a lot more, right? Well, it happens in many companies, not just your company. And then now, what are the key principles for you when you hire people to your team?
Principles.
Are you still hiring directly as a founder?
I'm still hiring directly, actually.
How do you choose people to join your team?
So first of all, we try to choose very dynamic and sporty people.
Sporty. Oh, I forgot to mention you're also like a hardcore marathon runner.
Half.
Okay. Hardcore half marathon runner. Okay. But you go to the jungle and run the jungle marathon too.
No, this September I'm doing the Sapa half marathon.
Okay. Yeah. So sporty
and dynamic people, because we think that the sporty people will bring a more positive energy and mindset and attitude to the workplace, and typically they are healthier and have more kind of balance. They can work hard, but also they can release that stress effectively. So we try to hire for culture fit, which is like being sporty, dynamic, and fun, loving. We also try to screen for general intelligence as well. So, typical logic.
You know what? Why is it a secret? Why is it a secret? A lot of big companies actually do that. They scan for the logical. They do have all these tests to test people's ability to reason and have critical thinking.
Yes.
So why is it a secret for you?
So we think that working generally with people who are fast to learn will generally improve the business a lot. And at the start, there will be less, trainings required to train that particular person onto the job as well, because they learn fast and can grasp new concepts well.
Cool. So the two key things are, number one, the culture fit, and a part of the culture fit is very important to be physically fit, right? Sporty. And number two is about their, cognitive ability to be able to learn and solve problems fast. One
more thing is the for our operators, because they have to work with trucking companies, truck drivers, and our customers, warehouse supervisors. So we tend to hire people with experience in logistics field, which is a must, but also the ability, the soft skills, because this is a very communications focused role and problem solving role. So if you're not good at solving conflicts with people around you, then it's not a suitable job. So this is only specific to operations.
And how do you scan for the ability to solve conflicts or work well with people?
I think I would ask them about the previous problems they had to face in their previous logistics experience they had, and how did they solve that situation. And that oftentimes they will talk about, the truck was delayed and they had to explain to the customer, or what other necessary backup options do they have to take in order to ensure that maximum service level is met. So those are the questions that I would ask to gauge how that person reacted in previously, which is a very good predictor of future performance.
So you're still hiring everyone in your company?
Only for the very last round.
The last round, that makes sense. Yeah. How big is the team now?
So we have 50 people.
50 people. Yeah. I've heard that most founders would love to keep hiring. I mean, be involved in the hiring process.
Absolutely.
Up to a few hundred people, and sometimes some founders even still involved when they're 1,000 of people scale.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah,
1,000 is a lot.
But not 1,000 at the same time, right? I mean, they grow to that scale, and they still want to be involved in hiring.
I think more for the management roles, right? Hiring the managers, then they would be involved. But 1,000, and then they would have a lot of people to go through.
Yeah. Usually it's the last round that they would be a little bit. They will be a part of the decision-making process, not the soul or the whole decision maker. Yeah. Let's touch a little bit on the future that you imagine in logistics and logistics technology. What do you envision will be the biggest change or innovation in this industry in the next 5-10 years? Whether it's going to be done by your company or by the industry in general, what is the biggest thing that will be happening?
The biggest thing that will happen in logistics is sustainability. Because Vietnam is a manufacturing hub, and so many foreign FDI companies have invested in Vietnam as part of their supply chain. And as part of that mandate, they will have to comply, and they will have to reduce their emissions. And how would they do that? They would look at the manufacturing process itself, and they would look at logistics. And how would logistics be transformed in the next 5 to 10 years? I believe that electric vehicles, electric trucks will play a role in that transformation.
And we'll see a Linh driving an electric trailer in that future.
Looking forward to that.
It is so great to talk to you today, Linh, about your company and about the future of logistics. Before we end, I just have a few quick questions just to ask you for fun.
Wow.
So we talked about work-life balance before, but what is the most favorite thing that you do for work-life balance?
Exercise.
Exercise.
Running, swimming, cycling.
That's nice. And a stupid question, but please forgive me. How is being a CEO similar to being a wife?
Both can be the nóc nhà, right? Be the boss.
You can be a boss in both roles. I like this attitude.
In Vietnam, the wives are often the bosses, right?
Yeah.
They own all the assets. That's what we see with truckers.
Right.
Actually, the trucks belong to the women.
Oh, wow.
You look at the truck doors.
Okay.
It says the legal owner of the truck.
I
and
see.
they often say something tape. Right.
I see. Interesting. I
And
didn't
the
know
man
that.
drives. The man drives and
I
earn
didn't
money,
know
but the assets and the wealth belong to the women.
Yeah. And one part of your work that you love the most?
When a trucker told me that Logivan helps him with the backhaul loads, that is incredibly rewarding for me. It's not about signing $1 million contract with a new client. It's actually hearing these small wins that often it makes my day.
And those small wins can come every day, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is a part of your work that you hate?
Legal, contracts.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't understand why the legal field is so glamorized in Suits.
Right.
Because you watch Suits and you think
good drama.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But reading dense contracts is not my thing.
I see. Well, that's how they make money. Dense contract that you don't like to read, but
look out for the fine print.
Yes.
But I still have to read all the enterprise contracts that come my way.
Yeah. So if you're a mentor to Linh of 7 years ago, when you first started this company, what would you tell her?
So pick the business idea very wisely. Try to kill the business model many times first. Because it's either ride or die afterwards. You have to stick to the business for a very, very long time afterwards. So choose very carefully.
And what does it mean to choose wisely?
What it means? That's a very good question. It would mean to launch, softly the idea amongst the relevant users first to see if they would be able to pay for the solution. In our case, everyone pays for logistics, so it kind of makes sense. But how do we better optimize logistics? You have to figure that out early in the journey.
So launch and figure out the monetization and optimization of monetization early. Anything else you would tell her to advise her on this journey?
Improve your soft skills.
What?
People, expectations, management.
I see. Now, just a random question. Do you think that young people should start their own company?
Totally. There's everything to learn, to gain, and nothing to lose.
Wow. Do you know that this contradicts with a lot of the guests that I have on the podcast? They always say no.
And you say when you're young, you have nothing to lose, right? But you learn and you gain so much. Even if the business is not successful, you gain co-founders, you gain, the experience of talking to investors, pitching, making the product, hiring, and everything.
Lovely. This is a fresh perspective compared to other guests I have.
I think my mantra is like, just do it.
Just do it and learn, right? Actually, entrepreneurship, no one can actually teach you. Besides two ways. Number one is you learn by doing. Number two is you work for a really good founder who teach you on the journey. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Linh, for sharing about your company with so much passion today.
Thank you to Ruby for hosting the podcast today. Yeah. My pleasure to share more about Logivan and our work.
Yeah. I love all the conversation on the podcast because I always learn so much from my guests. Yeah, so it's like my own learning way is also a hobby that I have. It's a serious hobby that I have.
It's a very good hobby you have.
Yeah, it's a serious hobby. Yeah.
It's very social and it's also like good for like personal branding, build up the community, build up the audience. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Hey, những người bạn doanh nhân của Zero to X. Chương trình podcast này được làm với rất nhiều tình yêu từ bản thân mình và những người trong team của mình. Tất cả mọi người đều tình nguyện thời gian của họ. Nếu bạn thích chương trình này thì hãy mua tặng tụi mình một ly cà phê. Tụi mình đều là những con nghiện cà phê. Nếu có sự ủng hộ của bạn thì tụi mình sẽ làm ra những tập podcast mới phê hơn nữa. Hãy check out link ở trong description nha.